What if I told you that for over 3,000 years, an entire civilization believed the sun rose each morning because a god had defeated chaos the night before? That after you died, your heart would be weighed on a scale, and if it failed, you wouldn't burn, you wouldn't suffer, you would simply cease to exist. Ancient Egypt did not worship casually. They feared their gods, because these were not distant symbols carved in stone. They controlled the Nile, the harvest, war, disease, and eternity itself. And some of them held power so absolute, even other gods feared them. Tonight, we enter the timeless realm of ancient Egypt and uncover the 5 most powerful gods ever worshipped. 5. Anubis, the silent guardian of the dead. Imagine your final breath in ancient Egypt. Your family prepares your body carefully, organs removed, flesh preserved. But one thing must remain untouched: your heart. Because death was not the end. It was a trial. And waiting at the threshold stood Anubis. With the head of a black jackal and the body of a man, Anubis was both feared and respected. Jackals roamed Egyptian cemeteries, watching from the edges of the desert. To the people, it made sense that a jackal-headed god would guard the dead. Priests wore masks shaped like his face during mummification rituals. In that moment, they did not represent him. They became him. But Anubis's most terrifying role began after burial. In the Hall of Two Truths, the deceased would stand before a massive golden scale. On one side, their heart, on the other, the feather of Ma'at, goddess of truth and cosmic order. Anubis adjusted the balance. If the heart was heavier than the feather, burdened by lies, cruelty, injustice, it was devoured by Ammit, part crocodile, part lion, part hippo, and the soul was erased. No underworld, no second chance, no memory. Anubis did not judge, he ensured fairness. And in ancient Egypt, fairness was absolute. But guiding the dead was only the beginning of divine authority, because some gods did not wait for death to exercise their power. 4. Sekhmet, the wrath unleashed if the gods needed a weapon. They chose Sekhmet. Born from the eye of Ra, Sekhmet was a lion-headed goddess of war, plague, and divine punishment. When humanity began to rebel against the gods, Ra unleashed her upon them, and she did not hesitate. She descended upon Egypt like a wildfire. Villages burned, screams filled the desert air, blood soaked into the sand. The slaughter became so vast that legend says the Nile itself ran red. But something changed. Sekhmet did not stop. Her rage grew uncontrollable. Even Ra realized he'd unleashed something that might destroy humanity entirely. To stop her, the gods devised a desperate plan. They poured 7,000 jars of beer across the land, dyed red to resemble blood. Sekhmet found it. She drank and drank and drank until her fury dissolved into intoxicated sleep. When she awoke, the massacre had ended, but the message was clear. The gods could erase humanity if they chose. Sekhmet was proof. Yet even destruction has limits, because there is a different kind of power, one that does not rely on strength, but on knowledge. 3. Isis, the goddess who outsmarted the sun. Isis was not the strongest god in Egypt. She was something far more dangerous. She was intelligent. She mastered Heka, divine magic believed to be woven into the structure of reality itself, and she understood something no one else dared attempt. Even a supreme god has weaknesses. Ra ruled the heavens, but he was aging, and Isis wanted more than reverence. She wanted power. So she created a serpent from Ra's own divine essence and placed it in his path. When it struck, even the king of the gods could not cure the poison. The other gods were helpless. Isis approached calmly. She offered to heal him, but demanded something in return: his true name. In Egyptian belief, knowing a being's true name meant holding power over their essence. Ra resisted, but pain forced his hand. He whispered it, and in that moment, Isis gained power rivaling the sun itself. Later, when Osiris was murdered and dismembered by Set, it was Isis who searched Egypt piece by piece. She reassembled his body. Through magic, she resurrected him long enough to conceive Horus. She defied death, outwitted the sun, and reshaped the divine bloodline. But intelligence alone could not govern eternity, because every soul, mortal or divine, would one day stand before another. For a moment, step outside the myth. Imagine living in a world where your crops depended on divine favor, where drought meant punishment, where illness meant divine anger, where your eternal fate was decided in a cosmic courtroom. This was not entertainment, it was reality. And in that reality, one god ruled what came after life. To Osiris, Lord of Eternity. Osiris was once king of the living. He brought civilization, agriculture, law, until jealousy destroyed him. His brother Set tricked him into a coffin and sealed it shut. Later, he cut his body into pieces and scattered them across Egypt. It should have ended there, but Isis rebuilt him, revived him, and Osiris rose again, not as king of earth, but as ruler of the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. He was often depicted with green skin, symbolizing rebirth. Every soul stood before him: pharaohs, warriors, farmers. No one escaped his judgment. If Osiris denied you, your existence ended. He did not rule a nation, he ruled eternity. Yet even eternity depends on something more fragile than death: light. Without it, nothing lives long enough to be judged. And there is one God without whom none of the others could function. Not the destroyer, not the magician, not even the judge. Because without him, there is nothing. One Ra, the necessary creator. Before creation, there was only chaos, endless dark water. From it rose Ra. He did not conquer the universe. He spoke it into existence. Air, sky, earth, the gods themselves. Each day, Ra sailed across the sky in his golden solar bark. Each night, he descended into the underworld. And there he faced Apophis, the serpent of chaos. Every single night. If Ra lost, the sun would not rise, the world would dissolve back into darkness. To the ancient Egyptians, sunrise was not routine. It was proof their creator had won again. Without Ra, there is no harvest, no Nile flood, no life, no judgment, no gods. He was not simply powerful, he was necessary. Ancient Egypt fell. Its temples were buried beneath sand, its language forgotten for centuries, its gods declared myths. And yet, the sun still rises, death still comes, balance still governs the world, knowledge still shapes destiny. The names may have faded from daily prayer, but the forces they represented never disappeared. That is why we explore them, because history is not just the past. It is a realm that still echoes, and here, in Timeless Realm, we step into those echoes. If you want to uncover more forgotten powers, lost civilizations, and the forces that shaped humanity, subscribe to Timeless Realm, because time passes, but some stories remain eternal.